Oh, wow, guys, welcome back to Planet Lizzdom. I can't believe we're at episode 23 already. It's June, it's gorgeous outside, things are opening back up, life is, starting to come back into the world. Oh my goodness, my entire balcony looks like it exploded in flowers. And guys, it's never been better to talk to you. I am so excited this week. For those of you who have never, been to Planet Lizzdom before, this is a place for creators, artists, entertainers, and entrepreneurs. This show is designed for you. And I am so delighted and honored that every week I get invited into your lives and into your homes. I mean, I have everybody watching in from Toronto, Hamilton, London, all the way down to New York, Connecticut, all the way over to Vancouver, Los Angeles, New Orleans. I'm now syndicated in Austin, Texas. We have people watching in Christchurch, New Zealand this morning. Hi, guys. People in Sydney, London, and I even have someone watching in Osaka today. I'm not sure how far ahead in time that is, but that's kind of exciting. And I'm really honored to say that, even though we're going live now, we are archived into my YouTube channel. And every morning I have one viewer that invites me into her home and into her breakfast, puts us up on the big TV and enjoys her coffee watching us. So Renee, thank you so much. That means so much to me that you would want to start your day with me. That is kind of a big deal. But you know what's an even bigger deal? The fact that things are opening up. We can go sit on a patio this weekend, which I think is so cool here in Toronto. But you know what? I think, the biggest deal for me is that I have a lot of friends who work in the service industry, and they're going to get to start to work again this weekend. So in case you forgot how it works, guys, try and tip your servers. Be patient with them. They want to serve you. It's been a long time since they've done this, so we might be a little bit slow. Things might take a little longer, but you know what? Come on out, grab a beer, support your favorite bar and your favorite server, because guys, it is going to be a great summer. I can't even say it. I'm too excited. It is going to be a great summer. Things are getting better. Now, something that's really exciting to me right now is that I have someone coming to you this week from Montreal, and I think from what I've heard, Montreal is very much the same. Things are opening back up again, and the art community is blossoming again. And the person that I want to bring to you this week, he's such a great artist, and he's a wonderful human. He's a lover of tea and the creator of something called Monster Tunes, and I'm so excited to hear more about it. Guys, I want you to give a really, really warm welcome to one of my new favorite artists, actually. I actually found him on Facebook. We discovered this the other night, and I've never actually met him in person, but I want you guys to meet him today. Guys, give a big warm welcome to Andy Das. Andy, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm so happy that you can join us this week. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
You're welcome. Is it true that in Montreal things are opening up again as well?
Yes, most definitely. We started to open up. I think it's been like 2 weeks now. So slowly starting to get back to some type of normalcy, I would say.
That is amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. Montreal is one of my favorite cities. My family on my father's side is from Quebec, and I have quite a few friends in Montreal right now who I have encouraged to tune in tonight as well. And I find in the summertime, it's just gorgeous there.
Beautiful city. Definitely. Definitely.
Now, again, I've been telling everybody that you are an artist, and really, I think you're so amazing. That is how I found you. I saw you on Facebook, and I thought, this guy is really good and so talented, and I just, reached out to you. Now, I have been trolling your social media and your website, and I know quite a bit about you, but, for those who may not be familiar with you, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your art and you.
Thank you. Yeah. Just a little disclaimer, like I'm hearing like an echo in your voice. I don't know.
Are you?
Is that on my end or?
I'm not sure, actually. I don't know why there is an echo. I apologize.
It's like you sound like a robot, kind of.
Really? That's wild. Okay.
Okay, now I hear you. Yeah, I hear you a bit clearer now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I promise you, I am not a robot. If I was one of those those puzzles that you press, I am not a robot.
Yeah, I hear you.
Now, your art for me is just so wonderful. It's got a graffiti, pop surrealism style to it. How would you describe your art?
I think, yes, it's definitely influenced by those genres of art. I would say it's kind of a mishmash, like a gumbo pot almost of like my influences growing up as a kid. And then as I further got into adulthood, I came across like stuff like graffiti and, like you said, pop surrealism, lowbrow art, and that kind of further influenced my already the stuff I was influenced by. Because I mean, when I grew up as a kid, my main sources of influence were comic books and cartoons and animation. So as I
Very
got older, I was introduced like to other genres of art through Juxtaposed magazine and High Fructose stuff like that. Really opened my eye into like this whole new different world of like art creation.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, you're. I can definitely see a Japanese influence there. I also love Japanese art and animation and Japanimation and just the wonderful world of creatures. And I'm just trying to see what would be my most favorite piece to show of yours, to show what your work looks like. And something that I really, really love and fell in love with the first time I saw it. I got to start with him. This guy speaks to me
Yeah,
so much. The FMO kitty.
nice. Yeah, yeah.
Tell me about him. What is there a story behind him?
I wanted to do something just it's kind of tongue in cheek and funny that people could relate to. We all have those days where it's like, F my life, like nothing's going right. And I wanted to play on the self pity factor where he's like I thought it would be funny. He's just drinking his own bowl of tears. I don't know. I just thought it'd be a funny concept. Like when you see in like you said, Japanimation, they do also like when the characters are crying, they have like the streams, like almost like waterfalls.
Yes, yes, like the tears and the
Exactly. Yeah. Just
yeah.
like water. Literally, they look like waterfalls. So I also thought that was funny. So I wanted to kind of do my take on something a similar type of theme.
I absolutely love it. And I really love that your work can be seen on the streets. Now, is this in Montreal?
This was actually I was commissioned to do this for the Mural Fest. This was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago they have on the Mural Fest when you walk into Saint Laurent on the street, they have these huge wood, I guess like these wood cabinets or something, and like they commission like a whole bunch of artists to come paint them for the street. Yeah, but then they remove them after. They don't stay up there forever. I think they stay up for the duration of the festival, and then they move them away.
Okay, it's beautiful.
Thank
How
you.
long,
I had
how
fun
long would
doing
you
that. Yeah, that's fun doing that.
how long would you say that took you to do?
Uh, I think I started in the morning to like early afternoon.
Oh, that's not
Yeah,
bad.
early
Yeah,
afternoon, early evening-ish. Yeah,
that's awesome. Wow. I mean, I know for some people, well, I guess it depends on the amount of detail. I know for myself, it takes a good chunk of time, depending on what I'm going to do, that sort of thing. Oh, I love your use of color. Like it is just phenomenal. How do you choose that?
thank you. It's funny with color. Actually, when I started out art, I never used color. Everything I did was in black and white, and I think I just wanted to really, as I got older and my style developed, I really wanted to challenge myself. But like anything else, just trial and error. The first paintings I did, the color coordination was all out of whack. It was kind of like I was just throwing things together to see what works. And then after when I had a better understanding of color theory, I just started to really develop my own style in terms of like how I do my colors. And I found through experimentation and trial and error that pastel colors really work well with the shapes and the curvatures of my characters. So when I experimented with that, I was like, okay, this works. And then how could I take it a step further? I really like doing a lot of monochromatic pastel tones, where it's like I'll have like maybe certain sections of a character or element of a piece will be bright colored, but then the rest of it will be like pastel, and then try to play around with the hues and shades in that manner.
Very cool. I have to agree. It,
Really,
it does
really
break it up.
nerdy art stuff.
I love nerdy art stuff. Honestly, it adds so much more dimension to your work when you can kind of explain, the motivations behind it. Because at the end of the day, color theory it's so incredibly subconscious. We
Yeah,
gravitate towards certain things for certain reasons. And I find what really drew me to your work is that, and I'm going to be nerdy here, your black and white line work is phenomenal.
thank you,
It
thank you.
stands on its own without color alone. And that really kind of spoke to me. I thought, okay,
A,
this is
and
strong.
a lot of people have told me that, and I think it's because like I grew up reading a lot of comic books and comic strips, so everything was always in black and white. So all those little nuances and details, I really gravitated towards that. It was kind of daunting at first to figure out how to color, because I
Yeah.
was so used to back then just doing strictly black and white. But then I think once you go color, it's hard to stay away from that, in my opinion. It's hard to like go back and be like, okay, I'm gonna go back to doing strictly black and white. There's so much possibilities with color. It's like it never ends what you could do with it, you know?
It's true, and sometimes I find I'll do something in color, and then in post, you know, with Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever, you know, I will put it to a gray scale, and all of a sudden it just looks so incredibly different. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it really doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. It's like trial and error, you know? I think it vastly depends on the image and the type of image it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure. And now, just so everybody knows, and I'm going to plug this the entire show because I just think it's so cool that you have so many different things available. But I didn't see, and I don't remember if I saw it, but do you have a coloring book on andydas.com?
Actually, I don't. That's actually one of those other things that people have asked for that I just haven't gotten around to doing. I should do one eventually, yeah.
Oh, when you do one, I will absolutely buy one. I love coloring books. It is so therapeutic and relaxing, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm, you know, that I have a hand in your art style. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm coloring this. This is kind of exciting, you know.
You're putting your own personal touch to it, I guess.
Exactly. I would probably do a lot of greens and pinks, and, you know, because that's what I do. It's my favorite thing. But I really, you know, I have to say, I love that you do have some swag. I found this picture of you online wearing this wicked shirt that I believe is also available on your website.
Yes, it is.
So guys, you know, if you need a new t-shirt for summer, here we go.
Just a disclaimer, a lot of the small sizes are pretty much sold out. I don't even think I have XL and double XL of that shirt left in most sizes, yeah.
Okay, but you know what? That's a good sign. It means that
that's your size, and hey.
Absolutely. You know what I'll do actually? Very often if I see a t-shirt that I love the graphics so much, but it's just not the right size, like it's either way too big or way too small, I'll actually buy it and I'll cut it out and I'll sew it onto a jean jacket or something like that. Or like a sweatshirt or something to kind of, you know, still have the image and the experience of it, but in something that fits me.
That works. That works. That's crafty.
Little DIY action there, you know.
Yeah, I co-sign that. Hey, there you go.
Now, something that I really, really love and I want to play is I am a huge fan of work in progress. I love to see the process. I think that's really, really cool. And something that I found on your social media is that you like to post WIP videos, work in progress videos.
I do.
And I wanted to play one today to kind of show everybody just a little bit of, you know, what it's like to be in your workspace and in your head. It's a great minute and a half. And I want to play that right now. Give me 1 second.
Awesome. Go ahead. Totally awesome.
I love your choice of music. It's so relaxing.
Yeah, that song. Sorry, just keep adjusting my stupid.
Oh yeah, no worries.
That song is actually a song my friend produced years ago, and he gave it to me. You see the light, the blur on the screen, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but
it's from the light. Stupid light. Okay, I guess that's a little better.
Yeah, it's okay. There's a little bit of flare. That's all right.
Yeah,
it's all good. So, yeah, no, that music is
really that song with my friend, when he used to do music, that was like a long time ago. I had that track for like over 10 years, probably.
Wow.
but I never used it. And then I was like, you know what, this would be great. These beats would be great to use for my work in progress videos.
Absolutely. Well, it's energizing and it makes me feel like I'm, there with you. It still feels current, because I find a lot of current music sometimes doesn't seem so current.
Yeah.
It is definitely it stood the test of time. It's a great piece, and I
I
really
thought so too, yeah. And that's why I wanted to use it. Because when I heard it, I'm like, you know what, this is still kind of hip, it's kind of trendy. Like it works well with the flow of the art. And you try to edit the piece edit the video to the beat, kind of, sort of try to make it work.
Well, and I really love that you are so involved with social media and with your website. A lot of artists just tend to create the art, which is great. Sorry, I'm just going to close the door here. Got a bit of outside noise, but creating the art is one thing. But I find now, especially in this day and age, making social media to complement it and bring people into your life just really adds such an extra layer. You and I were talking about this the other day, and you were talking about how, as the artist, you kind of have to be the face as well now.
Yes, I think so. I think 100%. I think artists can't afford to literally not put themselves out there. I mean, certain artists are lucky; they don't have to go down that road. But I think the vast majority of artists, like, you have to put the face to the art. I think just people more so they relate to it and they can connect with. Now they see the artist in front of the art, and they're like, oh, we know what he looks like. We could relate to that. Like we could relate to what he's saying, and they feel a deeper connection. It's like when you're meeting someone, or like when you go to see like a speaker perform. You may not know the speaker, who the speaker is. Like, let's say you just go to like a lecture or something, but then after that lecture you feel connected to the words and you feel connected to that person because you resonate with the words they're saying or whatever.
Absolutely. And something that anyone who goes onto your website will see is that you have a blog as well, which I
Yes.
think is really cool. I was so pleasantly surprised when I went to your blog because I realized, oh wow, like this artist has a lot of depth. Like all of a sudden I felt like I was learning about you, the person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something I want to move into for a second, away from your art into you. And I always say ACDC, but before COVID, during COVID, after COVID, when we went into the first lockdown, what were you doing and where were you at? Like, what was it like for you?
I think it was tough like everybody else. Me in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, if I'm being honest, it wasn't tough in the beginning because I'm naturally introverted. So
Okay.
to me, it was kind of like, I wouldn't say comedic, but it was like I'm always I'm always staying home. I don't go out a lot. So to me, it just gave me an excuse to really focus more on my craft, and I welcome that. I welcome the lack of distraction. So to me, I took it like that. I looked at the positive side. I was like, hey, okay, we were locked down. We can't go anywhere. This just gives me more opportunity to focus on my craft and without any distractions and go headfirst into that. But after a few months in, I'm like, okay, this is starting to, like, even though as introverted as I am, it took its toll on my mental health a lot, because I'm used to going to the gym and working out, and that's how I kind of recalibrate my mind and my thoughts. And a lot of negative thoughts come in, and it's like, okay, when is this going to end? It's overstayed its welcome. And then, yeah, you find different ways to cope, and the blog was one of the ways of coping. It was just like, okay, I have all this free time. Let me challenge myself. Let me do something different. Let me be more vulnerable in my how I portray myself. So I took it upon myself to write these blogs, and I had no intention of really putting it out there as much. It was just for me. But then I was like, okay, I wanted to speak about art, but not in the typical sense, which is I find a lot of artists give business advice.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to take a different angle and really delve into how the mind of an artist works, as well as the creative aspects of art, and how we arrive to certain conclusions in art, like the meaning of art, like introspection or like color theory, stuff like that. I wanted to delve into those aspects, and they've been very well received.
Oh, they're wonderful. Actually, it's something that you had posted that really spoke to me. And you can find, if I am correct, your blog is on your website on andydas.com, correct?
Yes.
I just want to make sure, because I've been trolling you a lot, so I've been a little bit confused in terms of certain things. So I want to make sure I'm presenting properly. But something that you wrote really spoke to me, and I want to share it with everybody because it it was very profound. It was about art and depression. You
Yeah.
said, I know how to cope. If there is one takeaway from this article, recommend anyone who is reading to get comfortable with self-care and never feel guilty or ashamed for wanting time for yourself. Stay blessed. That
Yes.
spoke so much to me, and thank you for writing that.
You're welcome.
You know,
I'm glad it resonated with you. I truly believe in that. I think everybody at a certain point in life, they got to be selfish to themselves in a way. Like you got to not be afraid to take that extra time you need to work on things, work on yourself, and try to become the best version of yourself. So whatever that means, it's different for everybody else, you know. So I definitely think it's important because if you're not operating at your full capacity, then it's like you're not going to be fun to be around anyway, right? You're not being your truest version of yourself if you don't take the time to work on yourself. You're
that's
just kind of
true.
always, uh, you're just kind of always pleasing other people or being there for other people, and it's like after a while, if you're not the best version or you're not happy, you're just gonna feel down a lot, depressed.
It's so true. And I have to say, I know for myself, my hand froze for a long time. I couldn't paint for a long time. I was creatively stunted. You know, I dealt with being in lockdown, you know, differently than others and then same as others. I had what's called fatigue,
Okay.
pandemic fatigue. Have you ever experienced any of that since we've been in lockdown? Because I think you guys have probably had three of them as well.
Fatigue and they just fed up of the pandemic, you mean? Like,
From what I understand, from what I've read, pandemic fatigue is where you're tired of, the trauma response that you're constantly dealing with. You're tired of being locked down. You're tired of being, being so careful and being masked up all the time, even though you're on board with it. It's exhausting, and you're mentally drained, and you can't see anybody, and you're depressed. Like,
yeah,
how have you been able to combat that and thrive?
certainly. At one point, I purchased because me the way my brain functions, I function well to exercise. So I bought some weights on Amazon. So I started doing the home workout. So that helped a little bit. Some days it was better than others. And if I'm being honest, I'm not gonna lie. The first few months, alcohol, alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I was drinking.
Absolutely. For me, it's been like CBD, tea, and cookies,
Yeah, yeah.
But, at the same time, you do need some coping mechanisms for sure. I mean, for the first time in my lifetime, and probably most people's lifetimes, we're all collectively dealing with the same sort of um, craziness in the world. Like, I don't want to use the word trauma, but it is very traumatic in the sense that all of a sudden everything that we know is stopping, and we have to kind of, sequester ourselves in quarantine. And it feels like a really bad episode of Black Mirror. It feels just too real.
Yeah, no, I agree. And different people they coped with it differently. I know some people they had a really, really bad time coping with the pandemic, like a really exceptionally bad time, you know? I was kind of like in the beginning, it didn't affect me as much, but then as it further got, okay, now we got to quarantine again, we got to stay home again for another 3 weeks or whatever, and then it started to take its toll. It was like highs and lows, ebbs and flows, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I love that you are still being creative and you're still really um, producing a lot of work. Like, every time I go onto Facebook, I see another post from you. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
geez, like, this guy's really using his time so valuably. And I love, again, that you let us see all your work in progress. I think that is so cool. It adds such a human element to what you're doing.
Thank you.
You know, um,
I think that's overlooked too. I think a lot of people they like to just show the finish. And
yeah.
I'll show messy sketches too. I don't care. I'll show sketches where it's like this area erased. It's it may not be the cleanest when you see the sketch, but then when the finished work is like you see that messy sketch and how it turns to afterwards. I think it's very like you said. It's very has that human element to it. You know, you get to see it's like they get to the viewer gets to see my hands literally getting dirty. You know.
Absolutely. What would you say to your younger fans out there who are artists and starting out and looking at what you do and being just so enamored and in awe? Like, what advice would you give them?
Well, I mean, I guess it's just a typical. I mean, just a typical advice. Try to just work on your craft every day, and not to be I would say this doesn't get mentioned often as much. I think for younger artists, I would say don't look at trends at all. Don't even pay attention to the really trendy stuff because it's easy to go down that rabbit hole of painting the same thing that a lot of artists are painting or the same subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, it's cool to be influenced like that. It's okay to do a few pieces that are quote unquote trendy, but in order to be really unique and find your own style, I think that just comes from like just not looking at too many things and just sketching and see what happens in your book, and then taking one element of that, liking that, expanding upon that, and then after you do that, maybe trying something else. You may not get it on a third or fourth try, but you might have different sketches that you like certain elements, and then try to combine those elements and see what you come up with. It
You
may
know,
take a longer process than just like, okay, I'm going to use a reference material and copy it verbatim, which is helpful too. Of course, you're going to do that as well, but yeah, I would recommend that.
that's wonderful advice. I mean, that's wonderful advice for artists who have been creating for a long time. You know, sometimes we also need a reminder and a refresher to, keep all the material, use it for reference, just keep doing the thing.
Yeah.
Now I am so curious to know because I did read this about you. What are monster tunes? I want to learn. This is cool.
Oh, my monster tunes are the characters I created. When I was growing up, it's funny because I loved animation so much, and I used to draw cartoon characters. But I used to draw cartoon characters, but the versions I would draw were never the exact versions you would see on TV. So I'd take something like the Ninja Turtles, but I would turn them into babies. So there's a point during my childhood, all I would draw was like Ninja Turtles with like diapers on them and stuff. They look like little, yeah, they look like the little baby counterparts of them, like how they would be as if they were babies. And then that was my thing. I drew that for years. Then I drew like I don't know a different character. Like one time I was obsessed with Ren and Stimpy, so I made my own versions of Ren and Stimpy. But instead of a cat and a dog, one was a hamster, and then the other one was an aardvark. Aardvark.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I'll just take like these archetypes in animation and cartoons, but do my own versions. So I think the monster tunes, what that stems from is my desire to just make my own characters. I never wanted to be like, oh, yeah, he's good, but he only does fan art. I wanted to be the anti-fan art. Not like there's anything wrong with fan art. If you're a fan art person and that's what you do, totally cool. But for me, my thing was always like, hey, I want to do my own creations. Because when I look back in like history and I look like my goal was to always be, I wanted to make like a character on par with Mickey Mouse or like Bugs Bunny or SpongeBob. So I created my character Tweebs, who I think is like in that same vein or archetype of like these cool looking mascot characters. And what I liked about those character designs is that they were so unique and strange. Like the first time I saw SpongeBob, I didn't know what it was, and I like that mystique about it. It's the same thing when I first saw Ren and Stimpy on a cover of a magazine. I thought they were aliens. I didn't understand that they were a dog. But then when I closer looked, I'm like, yeah, that does kind of look like a chihuahua, you know?
You
And
know
then
what?
that
I
does look
thought
like
the same thing. I did.
when I first saw it on cover, I didn't know what they were, but that's what I loved about it. It's that originality. It just jumped out and it just inspired me so much. So I think with my monster tunes, I try to make them very distinct and have a particular style that when you see it, you're like, what is that? It looks cool, but we can't put our finger on it. It just looks something that's very eye-catching.
Well, that's it. And your style is very, very distinct. I love her. I love Mary Death as well. There is, there's an Andy Das style, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. I don't know if it's the dark line work on the outside and then the finer line work inside, just the juxtaposition of the eyes. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I know that when I see your work, I know it's yours. And the characters are yours.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think that's one of my main aim is to definitely have a style that's very distinct. When I think about the greatest artists I like, it's artists that are, irregardless of technical ability or medium. I like the artists that really like when you see it, you could tell right away. Like if you name me 100 comic book artists, I'm gonna know who I'm gonna just by looking at a particular style, I could tell that's a particular type of artist. Even if I see some artists that copy a particular artist style verbatim, I'll still know that that's not the original artist. You know, they're just inspired by it. Like I could look at a Todd McFarlane and right away I know, oh yeah, that's Todd McFarlane, or that's Jim Lee, that's John Remuda. Like I know, you know, I'm cut from that cloth where it's like I gravitated towards people with distinct styles of art and drawing technique. Yeah.
Something that I thought was really cool is that you were on the cover of You magazine, and again, this is definitely your work. You know, this
Yeah.
is so awesome. Tell me about You magazine. What exactly? How did that happen?
Sorry, excuse me.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
all
You
right.
magazine. I was approached by a guy named Christian Usera, and he approached me and he said he wanted to do a magazine that was representative of POC, people of color, 75%, I think, and then the other 25% would be different types of artists. So he approached me, and then he ran down the idea. He said, "Yeah, we're gonna have like I think a page or two or three of each artist's work, and then we're gonna have a little editorial or whatever." And I was like, "Hey, yeah, why not? Why not?" You know, I did not know he was gonna use my work for the cover. He surprised me after, and he's like, "Yeah, we used your Tweeps painting on the cover," and I was like, "Of course!" I was stoked. I was like, "Oh, that's awesome," you know. And then he sent me a few copies, and I gave a few of them out. I have one for myself, but it was a cool little project, you know.
That is a great surprise. I mean, oh
Yeah,
my gosh, I would have bought 20 copies and give them to everybody for sure.
definitely. I gave a few out. I gave a few out.
No, that's really awesome. I love seeing your work out, you know, in other medias. Like there was a blog called Chaotic Utopian that you were interviewed in for your work.
Yes,
How was that? How did that go?
that was cool. That was another opportunity where Jesse Jesse approached me, the owner of Chaotic Utopian, and he had a blog that was really focused on artists that strictly do like a lowbrow style of art, you know. So he approached me and he said he wanted to interview. I think he's Canadian too, actually. I'm not sure. I think he's Canadian, yeah. But I could be wrong on that. Sorry, Jesse, if I got that wrong. But anyway, yeah. So he approached me and he wanted to do the interview. And that's a cool blog because it really strictly focuses on artists that do that lowbrow pop surrealist, weird, like really weird art, outsider art. So yeah, it was a fun interview, and he asked some pretty funny, interesting questions.
I love that you call it outsider art because it's no to me it's no longer outsider. It's more like you're an insider if you're part of that. There's such an
Yeah,
exclusivity to being part of that movement.
definitely.
And and guys, if you have any questions, I'm popping up comments right now as they come in. If you have any questions for Andy, please, ask him anything because
Yeah,
we have an
ask away.
amazing we got an amazing artist here, guys. Come on, ask away. No question is nerdy enough. If you want to talk about brush
I love
size,
it. The nerdier the question, the better.
um, you know, I'm so curious to know what is on your radar. A year from now, 2 years from now, what are you working towards? What do you want to do with your art?
I want to eventually I want to own my own studio. Sorry, this
Oh,
is
that's
fun.
all right.
I got the light in the front. Okay. Yeah, eventually in
It's
the
all
next
right.
few years, I would really like to own my own studio and make that a hotbed for just creativity. I would like to do more collaborations with other artists, invite them to my studio and work on collaborations. And hopefully, I could even have a portion of that art gallery, maybe studio be maybe a gallery, and maybe I could sell other people's work, or we could do something where I have shows, maybe monthly shows or gatherings, stuff like that. I also want to do more. I really want to get into the fashion industry because I really like the creativity in fashion. I think there's some cool opportunities in terms of where fashion could go and what you could do with it. And I want to see more artists do fashion collabos. I know it started like people like Cause, and now they have one. Dior did one with Kenny Scarf, and they did some cool stuff. I want to see more of that. I want to see the blending of, okay, this was on a canvas, but now we have it as a garment, and what that could materialize into. Like I want to see that stretched because I don't think there has been a lot of artistic collaborations, but it's mostly surface value. It's just like, okay, we're gonna put an image of an artist, his art on a shirt, and that's cool. That's a component of it. But I want to see it transform into something a little bit more sophisticated. I don't know if that makes sense.
It
Like,
does.
like for instance, like I like what's his name, the artist? I don't know if you ever heard of him, Para.
What was the
His
name of
name
the
is
artist?
his name is Para.
No.
I think I think he lives in London. Anyways, he has this clothing line called what's it called? I forget what it's on. I think it's called Power too, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, he has this clothing line, and he does some really he's a contemporary art painter, but he does some really cool clothing designs. It's kind of like street wear, but it's like the way he does his designs. I find it's very clean and sophisticated, and I like what he does. He does a lot of stuff that's very out there, but at the same time, it is a wearable piece, and it looks really cool. Like it's something that I could see many people wearing, and I like what he's doing. So I'm not saying I want to copy that, but I like what he's doing in terms of blurring the lines and like really raising the bar in terms of like what we could consider art. And in this case, it's like the wearable art and taking that to the next level. So I want to do more stuff with that for sure.
Very cool. I could absolutely see it. I mean, here's a photo of you standing beside this wonderful painted egg, looking very fashionable and editorial already. It makes sense to me because you clearly have an editorial sensibility about you already. You understand the power of art and style together. Most people don't know, but I hold a day job selling handbags in a
Oh,
department
awesome.
store. Everything from Marc Jacobs to
Yeah.
Coach to oh my gosh, just we'll leave it at that. It's a lot of brands, and I have seen artist collaborations before with some of these brands, and I really could see your art, on a handbag, on wearable, on
It's funny that
clothing.
you say because that's actually one of the pieces I want to do. So it's funny that you say that. That's actually one of the first things I was wanting to do customize was like we really make this cool looking handbag.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think that's an awesome canvas by the way. I think that's an underrated canvas. But I think yeah, not a lot of artists are doing handbags, right?
Yeah,
You
no,
see a
it's
lot of them. The most popular handbag is like a lot of people don't know, but the Louis Vuitton handbag was designed by Takashi Murakami, right? Do you know this artist?
no. Well, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, he designed the monogram print for Louis Vuitton, and this guy's he's a Japanese artist, um, Japanese contemporary artist, but he designed the famous monogram print. But he's known for doing the super flat style, which is really it's very anime, cartoons, flowers, and stuff like that. I know if you see his work, I know you're gonna recognize it. But he did the monogram print, and that's like it's the most iconic handbag ever. Now it's the most iconic like print, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, and I'm learning something new here. I never knew that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Wow.
I know
Yeah.
it blew my mind when I found out. It's because I'm like, this guy did that, but it's like he's the guy that does like trippy anime stuff. And then I saw the bag and how clean it was with the design. I'm like, wow, that's really like it's interesting, you know. But yeah,
Well, and it just goes to show you that you just never know where your art can go. Being creative, you can go from A to Z, and who knows what's going to happen. That it's very exciting in that sense. Who knows where Andy Das is going to go 2 or 3 years from now? I could still be working at my day job, and bam, I pick up a bag by Marc Jacobs. I'm like, hey, I know that guy.
that's it. And I think for artists, I think that's the way you should look at it. You should look at your trajectory as like not wanting to fall in line with the typical, oh, I just want to be like, I don't know, a gallery representation or whatever, right? There's so many different ways to be an artist. And I think like as artists, we need to embrace that more, you know? You need to not be afraid to take the risk and be like, okay, you know what? Like maybe forget about the gallery representation for now. Let me go over here and try this, you know? Let me try my hand over there at this. Let me make jeans jackets or eggs. Try
Or
eggs.
eggs, yeah.
It's like anything. That's what's so cool about art and being an artist is that just anything could be your canvas, and with a little bit of creativity, hey, you never know where it could take you, you know?
It's true. I actually painted a similar egg for another department store a couple of years back, and I found I loved the challenge of painting on a round canvas in the round.
Yeah.
Um, how was that experience for you?
It was very fun. I mean, I had a pretty much a idea of what I wanted to do, but I had that was probably one of the funnest things I painted in a while. I just had so much fun. The only thing they told us is the theme had to be like spring.
Okay.
So that's why you see the character I did, he has like a flower and the colors are kind of like that Easter color palette. Because initially they wanted to have that exhibition at during Easter, if I'm not mistaken, but due to the pandemic, they couldn't have it. So actually, that exhibition is now going on this week, if I'm not mistaken. This weekend or early next weekend, yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Out of curiosity, do you know what the exhibition is called?
It's called L'Art. It's part of my French. L'Art fait son nid.
Art, FAIT.
L'Art, yeah. L apostrophe art. Art. Fait, yeah. FAIT.
Okay.
Son. SON.
Okay.
Nid. NID.
Repeat the last word.
Nid. NID.
NID. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I want to put it up so people can go out and safely and take a look at it. If I spelled that correctly, L'Art fait
Yeah.
son nid.
That's exactly it. Yeah, you spelled it right.
Very
It's in
cool.
Montreal.
Yeah,
It's out in the South Shore in Montreal.
very
At
cool.
East 30, which is a shopping mall, giant shopping mall. But they have like an art gallery in there, art space in there. And it's 20 artists, and we all painted these giant eggs.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I wish I could go to Montreal this weekend to take a look.
Yeah. I wanna go out there too. I gotta go check it out. I'm curious to see the other artists' versions that they created.
Absolutely. I've done a few art shows like that in the past, and it is really fascinating and inspiring to see your neighbors creating something completely different than you, but still, for the same purpose and the same subject matter. And it's really exciting to see how different, everyone thinks. I
Yeah,
love it.
everybody has their different style, right? So it's cool to see how people interpret different canvases like that, like their take on it. Oh, he went with that direction. You went a different direction, or she went to that direction. It's very
Right?
interesting to see every artist's unique take, especially like you said, with a canvas that unique, right? It's not every day you get to paint a giant egg.
In the round, like, no matter what angle you're at, it has to be interesting and something has to be going on.
Yeah, that's the challenge. Yeah.
Did you have a certain time frame to paint that?
We did, and it wasn't long. I think we had like a week only. It was
Oh,
like a week or a week and a half. I don't remember. I just remember I
okay.
was slaving on it like every day,
I'll
staying up
bet.
until late hours. Yeah. But
Yeah,
what's cool is
definitely.
that they gave us all the materials too.
Oh, well, that's
They gave
nice.
us all the brushes, all the paints, so it was awesome.
My gosh. That is fantastic. I love to paint in acrylic paint, and it is expensive for the good stuff.
Yes, it is. Very, yeah, it's very.
Um, I am curious to know, do you ever, let yourself work with a cheaper quality paint, or are you very strict about your materials?
I am now. In the earlier days when I was just learning how to paint, I was just using cheaper paints. Now I don't use very much cheap paints. I mean, I might once in a while use like a color. Like if I go to the dollar store, Dollarama, I see like a particular shade, I might pick one or two up for sure. I'll pick it up and I'll use it in the paint, especially if it's a shade that I like. But I do use the cheaper neons. I like the neon paint, the cheap ones.
Yep.
So that I will get at the dollar store if I do use the neon in my work. But besides that, I use mostly Liquitex or Golding or Matte Pub. But I noticed they don't have the Matte Pub at the art store I'm at anymore. But
And
yeah.
that actually brings me to another question. How have you been able to get your art supplies during the lockdown?
Oh, during the lockdown, it was hell. I was so frustrated because even when you would shop online, everything was sold out. So like I did manage to order a few things, but it was a struggle. But then when they did open up briefly, the first thing I did was go to the art store, buy a whole bunch of stuff, and then lo and behold, lockdown again. But at least at that point, I was good because I
Well,
had a
wasn't
few
it the
things
most,
to work on.
did you have that wonderful feeling like a kid at Christmas when you were, holding all your art supplies and you're like,
Oh yeah,
oh,
yeah. The happiest thing is going to the store and getting that titanium white because that's the first thing that sells out. So
Always.
when I get the titanium white and carbon black, which are so crucial because I mix every single color I do.
Yep.
So that was crucial to just make sure I got those two. At the very minimum, at least I could get those two colors. So once I get those two colors, the other colors I could kind of wing it. I got a lot of paints, but yeah, it was a struggle because a lot of the stuff would get sold out and they would not restock. They would not
Absolutely.
restock. So it's like if you didn't get it, it's like, hey, you're out of luck. You're out of luck.
Absolutely.
You
And I
gotta
mean,
make do with what you have.
and I don't know if you feel the same way, but for me, lamp black, Mars black, other blacks, they're not created equal. They are not. Like I
No.
have my specific blacks that I use for my black
I
line
like,
work.
yeah, I like the carbon black particularly. Yeah, carbon black is my favorite. That's what I do all my lines with.
Nice. Do you find it's because it finishes in matte?
Yes, and it has a kind of sheen to it as well. It has a slight gloss to it. A slight
Oh,
gloss. Yeah, it has a little bit of a gloss, I find. I did order this black paint one time from I forget the guy's name, Stuart. He's an artist too, Stuart Semple. He makes his own paints. And
wow.
he made this he's in the UK and he had this Kickstarter where he made the blackest paint.
Oh, the Vanta.
Huh?
The Vanta black paint?
No, it's not called Vanta. What's it called? I have it over here. Black 3.0, that's what it's called.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Black 3.0, and it comes in this cool, looks almost like a perfume cologne case. But yeah, so I backed the Kickstarter at the time, and I got two copies of that, and it's a good paint. It's really matte,
Yeah.
and it's super dark. Like not even light could go through it. The problem with it is, and why I don't like it is because number one, you have to put multiple coats
Ooh.
to get the blackness. Number two, it's very chalky. So as soon as you put your finger on it, even after it's dry, it's gonna leave the residue on your hands, and that's a no-no to me.
Yeah, same here.
No-no. That's a no-no. Like
Yeah.
even now, if I touch I didn't make a lot of paintings with it, but even now, if I touch the paintings that I did use it on, and I touch the corner with the blacks on, there's gonna be black residue on my hand.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a no-no for me. So I stopped using it.
Yeah, same here. That's good to know because I don't like that either. Like it's like newsprint. It just gets on your fingers and you know, I don't know. For me, I always liked acrylic because it when it dries and it's like a plastic, latex, and it's waterproof and life proof.
I'm disappearing.
Now, oh my goodness. That's the beauty of going live. You just never know what's gonna happen.
Oh my god. I gotta get a new tripod, yeah.
It's like the lights of heaven are shining in on you. Oh, and he does. So I'm doing the wrong way. I'm still getting used to the webcam. Oh. Now I have to ask because every single artist probably has a story, but have you ever had the compliment of having one of your pieces of work stolen?
Have I?
I use compliment sarcastically, of course, but has that ever happened to you?
Let me think. No, I don't think I have. No.
That's great. I'm very happy for you.
I'm trying to think. No, I don't think so. I've always made sure. Yeah, I know. I don't think so. No.
No, that's absolutely wonderful. I'm very happy to hear that for you because I do know a few people that have had people help themselves to their work at group shows or when they had painted a sign for someone and all of a sudden someone decided they had to have it and take it home.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. That has happened to myself as well. I'm very glad it hasn't happened to you.
No, it hasn't. Not to my recollection. No.
That's good.
Hey, I guess it's like you said, it's a compliment.
That's how I have to look at it. It's like if your art inspires someone that much to commit a crime,
You gotta take it. There you go. Yeah.
Now that being said, I do want to make sure that nothing happens to your beautiful egg this weekend. I am not encouraging the universe to give your egg away to anyone.
That's hard. That's going to be hard to run off with.
I imagine it's probably very heavy.
It's actually not that heavy. It has a little weight to it, but it's hollow, right? It's not like it's not solid.
Okay, good.
It's heavy enough. It's heavy enough, but it's not like super heavy. You could, if you wanted to, not run off with it, but take it off, take it away or whatever.
Oh my goodness. I sincerely hope that that does not happen. Hey, Andy, do you want to do a contest? I love doing contests with people. Because
Yeah, sure, why not?
I'm all about contests. I love contests. I want to see if our viewers are paying attention. Because guys, I want to send you a little prize, and I want to see who has been listening to our show this entire time. And I want to find out the first person that can tell me where does Andy Das live is going to win a prize. And the only way to let us know is to reply in the comments, guys. Where does Andy Das live? Now, sometimes there's a bit of lag because people take their time, or sometimes the internet's a little bit slow. So we'll just wait until someone answers and see if, people are going to win some swag, because it's nice to get some stuff and things. And while we're waiting, I want to talk about this wonderful mug very quickly. I think we have a winner. Donna, you're right. Andy does live in Montreal. You're absolutely correct. I'm going to send you a little prize and a thank you later. So thank you, Donna. Yay!
Yay!
Stuff. Tell me about this really cool mug. I love it. It's beautiful.
This was a cool commission. Somebody reached out for me to do. They had a particular inside joke that they wanted me to recreate, and it was basically, I think it was for carbon emissions. So they're talking about, I think the inside joke was along the lines of something where what caused something to happen. I don't know exactly. I can't really recreate the joke, but long story short, he wanted me to draw a seagull, a baby. What's in there again? It's a seagull, a baby fish, and an adult fish, and an ugly fish, and an airplane. Yeah, he wanted me to do those three things on a mug, and he's like, he wanted it on a mug. Well, he put it on a mug, but he wanted those three elements in there. And I thought it was fun. I thought it was a funny idea, cool idea. So yeah, I had fun doing that up for him. And I think he's gonna get me a copy of the mug too at some point.
That is
but it was a very cool commission. So he gave that as a gift to his whole team that he works with. Yeah, that was like so it's kind of that personal value, because it's the inside joke that they only know. So yeah, it was a fun piece to do.
That is amazing. I love it. It's really cool. Like I would definitely want to give that to all of my coworkers as a thank you, because it's so much fun,
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It's funny too, when I finished it and I showed it on social media, people were asking, "Oh, we want to buy that." I'm like, "You can't buy it. It's a commission."
Well, definitely. I will be visiting your website soon. Payday is coming soon, because I do believe that your art is absolutely wearable, and I am definitely going to find a shirt for me. And if it's not the right size, I will cut it out and put it on something else. I will make it happen.
That's awesome.
Because I love your work, Andy. It is just fantastic, and I'm just so honored that you would respond to my email and reach out to me and join me today. That's a big deal for me. I'm a huge fan.
It's a pleasure. I love talking about art. I love talking about creative stuff. Anytime I get a chance to talk about art with other like-minded creative geniuses, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And it's so funny right now, your feed, you're sounding like a robot.
Oh, yeah? Okay, yeah.
You know what it is?
You got to me.
Yeah, they're on to you, they're on to me. We're all robots here,
The transmitter, they brainwashed me now, so now I'm a robot.
Oh my God, I love it. It's funny with the internet. This past year and a half, I've really had to learn about streaming and internet speeds and this and that. And things are bouncing up to satellites, towers, bing, bang, boom. And sometimes the feed just goes sideways. No matter what your best preparations are, it just goes crazy. And this is that instance. And all I can really do is just laugh about it. Like the fact that we can sit here from two different cities and talk about art and share images, I think it's just so cool. And it's okay if if the feed goes wonky. It's all good.
Well, I guess it's part of the territory, right? I suppose.
Absolutely.
If you're going to do something live, yeah.
Absolutely, and I think
it's part of the fun.
Well,
I'm shining lights right now. I'm a light bulb right now. It's part of the fun.
It is part of the fun because, at the end of the day, this is what makes live television or broadcasting or whatever you want to call it really interesting, because it's the unplanned things that are the most exciting. It's the happy accidents as artists that sometimes create the greatest work. Oh, I wasn't planning to color it that way or draw that line or, spill paint everywhere, but gee, now I'm Jackson Pollock. Life is great.
There you go. Happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say.
Oh, I love Bob Ross. Okay, can I show you something funny here? All right, I'm going to go off camera for 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
This is how much of a Bob Ross fan I am.
I can't see what this is.
Oh, can you see it?
Oh, it's a figure. It's a figure.
Yeah, it's a Bob Ross doll. Now, when I got this at Christmas, we were watching Bob Ross, and the exact same episode as what he's painting was on. It was the weirdest thing. Like, it was the exact painting.
Weird stuff happens. What's this streaming thing called again?
So this is called StreamYard that we're on.
It was so weird. Like after when we did our pre thing the other day, and when I got off, and I watch a lot of YouTube, and when I went on YouTube that day, it's called what, StreamYard?
StreamYard, yes.
StreamYard. When I went on YouTube after we did our little pre thing, the first ad I saw was StreamYard on the YouTube. They had an ad for StreamYard streaming.
Yes, well, with StreamYard, you can actually simultaneously broadcast to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Instagram does not have permissions yet to do that, but yeah, if you just set it up in advance, you can broadcast to a couple of different places simultaneously, which is what we're doing tonight. Both my Facebooks, my personal, my Planet Lizzdom Facebook, and my Planet Lizzdom YouTube channel, so it can be archived for later.
That's cool. That's awesome.
It's very cool.
Yeah, the reason why I brought that up is because our devices are listening to us. So like when you say something, it's like they'll show you an ad on your like YouTube or whatever, which is crazy. It's happened to me so many times where like I'll be on the phone talking with my brother about something, and when I put down the phone, I'm like, okay, let me go watch something on YouTube, and they'll show an ad for the exact same thing we're talking about. It is scary.
Yeah, it is. You kind of have to really watch what you are saying.
I kind of like it though. I'm not gonna.
Well, what I find really freaky
I like
is
it when it's something I like. Like, okay, oh cool, yeah, I do want to see that. I do want to see an ad for that.
True, but have you ever had this experience where you're thinking about something and all of a sudden an ad for it pops up?
Yeah.
Like that's when it
probably
gets...
because you wrote it down somewhere, or maybe you said it out loud at some point.
That's true. It probably has to do something with that whole phenomenon of deja vu. You're right. You probably did write it down at some point or make mention, and you're just thinking of it again. But it's freaky when it happens.
It is super crazy.
And it is true. Social media knows all, but at the same time,
it's not even so much social media. I think it's just your device, your phone.
Yeah,
your phones.
Your phones. I mean, we're all connected at the end of the day. If you don't have anything to hide, I don't think there's really anything really to worry about.
Yeah.
So much. I mean, that's why password protection exists, and encrypted things and encoded this, encoded that, But it is what it is. We're connected into the web, and that's that.
There you go. Yeah.
It's modern times. But Andy, I can't believe the hour has gone by so fast already. Like, we're already at an hour. How did that happen?
Time flies. That's how it is.
Far out. Don't go away yet, but I do want to thank you so much for joining me this whole hour. I'm so happy to get to know you and your art, and I really look forward to what you're doing in the future. And please keep me posted on everything you're doing. I will happily share it with everybody. I do have a lot of friends in Montreal, and I will encourage them to come out and see what you're doing, and I encourage them to come out this weekend to see your work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, my pleasure. I apologize. Our feed is actually disintegrating really quickly right now, and I don't know why. But I will say goodbye to you now, but don't go away just yet. I will come find you right afterwards. But thank you so much for joining us this week, Andy. You're absolutely lovely, and you're such a great human. Keep being awesome.
Thank you for the kind words, my dear. Thank you. It was a pleasure to be on.
Thank you so much.
To anybody that tuned in to want to hear about me.
Yes, thank you guys. You're amazing. We have a lot of viewers tonight. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you guys every week for joining me. It means so much to me to see you in the comment section. It is a big deal when you participate because it lets me know that you're engaged with the show. For example, Mars is, giving us some great feedback right now. It means so much to me when you guys do that. And it really makes me want to create more content for you guys. You know, it's not necessarily easy to run the show while doing the show, but I love it and I love the challenge. As always, if there's someone you want me to interview or someone you want to learn about, reach out to me. I'm always available on Messenger, either through my personal Facebook or through my Planet Lizzdom Facebook. You know, this is for you guys, and nothing makes me happier than to make great content for you guys and interview amazing people every week. And this weekend is going to be amazing. Remember to tip your servers, turn over their tables, and be awesome and patient with everybody, because we're all excited to come back out into the real world, maybe a bit trepidatious, but you know what? We're moving forward. And I'm so happy to see that you guys are not only surviving, but you're thriving. And that is a really, really big deal. Guys, I want to thank you so much. Again, you know, I just want to remind you, we are syndicated on The Carney Show every Wednesday at 9 p.m. our time, 8 p.m. Central Time. Feel free to check it out. Carney Show is doing amazing things. Planet Lizzdom is back archived or syndicated there. And then The Devil's Hour is right afterwards. Jeff is doing amazing things, and you guys should check it out. And, you know, if you really like what you're watching and, you feel so inclined, feel free to show me a little love at paypal.me/Lizzdom. It does help me upgrade my equipment. I just got a new laptop here. I'm looking to get a new webcam and, just do all the things for you guys. So please, feel free to send a little love, or even just send a nice kind word, because guys, I'm so happy to be with you every week, and this means so much to me. I want to thank you all so much. Remember, tune in, turn on, and take part, because you never know who's going to land right here on Planet Lizzdom. Have a great weekend, everybody.